Hey friends, TUXX here. I had a few people asking me to compare the Steam Deck versus the PlayStation Portal. So I wanted to just make a real quick video of a real high level difference of kind of almost a versus, but just primarily what are the differences between the two units. And maybe this might help settle which one you should buy if you're debating, okay? First off, I will have links for both these devices down below in the description, so you can click the link to get the best price on Amazon. Now, I would honestly say buy both, okay? But maybe that's just me, you know? They are two very different devices as far as uses. The PlayStation Portal is primarily and only for playing PlayStation games via the PS5. You have to have a PS5 to make this work, okay? This goes for $200, has an OLED screen, looks honestly beautiful. The comfort level of this is very high. I have a whole unboxing video for this, so you can check that out for all the different details of the unboxing of it. But really a great device. I'm a big fan of it, and I've been playing quite a bit of this lately, actually. It really gives me an excuse to play PlayStation 5 more than I would normally. It feels very comfortable in the hand and very beautiful screen, so I would say that's a big plus. The cons are it only plays PlayStation games, and you have to connect to a PS5. So if you don't have a PS5, this is going to do you no good at all, okay? Now, the Steam Deck itself is for playing Steam games, okay? And this type of thing where if you have a Steam account, like a lot of people do, you may already own a whole bunch of games. You know, and I guess you could say if you have a PS5, you probably own a whole bunch of games as well, you know? So it's very similar. If you just, this gives you another venue for playing either Steam or PS5 away from a TV monitor. You know, it could be perhaps somewhere semi-remotely. You know, it could be somewhere on a plane or somewhere away. This does need to connect to the PS5, and this really doesn't necessarily need to connect to a PC or anything, so I would guess that would give it a slight advantage. Price-wise, this is $200 if you can find a list. I know this is sold out like everywhere, so you may have to pay scalper prices like we had to for one of our two PlayStation portals in this house. Now I'm getting tongue-tied. One of them I had to pay a scalper price, so it was about $300, and the other one I got from Sony, you know, and that one is, you know, like $200, the normal price. And this is the Steam Deck, which cost about $400, $500, if I remember correctly. I do have a whole review video, unboxing video, all the good stuff for this one too. So if you're curious about this as far as unboxing goes, or this, there's unboxing videos for either of them back in the queue, okay? As far as this goes, like I was saying, you may have a whole Steam collection of games which you can reintroduce yourself to. Maybe they're games that you bought on a Steam sale and never played like a lot of people, or played once, you know? So this might give you an excuse to play Steam, you know, and games like Pal World, which is a very popular game in the last, you know, month and a half, 2 months or whatever. And so there's a lot of great games that are coming out new for it, you know, as well as, you know, classic games like you already own, including, like, I got anime games on here like Clandid, you know, there's other stuff like Geometry Wars, kind of Xbox, Sword Art Online, Galgun Online, Redout 2. I mean, there's a lot of great games. Like, I love a lot of the games on this system, you know, N64, you know, Doom 64, all sorts of good stuff. And it's really great. It's a great system for playing all those games. But again, it's your Steam collection, you know. So I don't know if this is really comparing apples to apples, you know. If you're just buying one of the devices, I guess to try and make it easy, I think the screen is a little better on the PlayStation Portal, okay? I'll be honest, I think it is. I think it's a OLED screen. This is the standard. This is like the release date version of Steam Deck, so it's not OLED, although they do make a premium version now that does have that screen, which maybe that would make me feel a little bit differently comparing these two screens. But just comparing apples to apples, this one here, OLED, looks better than the non-OLED Steam Deck, okay? As far as comfort level goes, this feels more comfortable in your hand than the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is kind of big and kind of bulky, and honestly, my biggest problem with the Steam Deck is the fact that it has this button right here this still drives me crazy. I hope they fix this, or maybe they already have this. This right here is a little bit over the edge of the curvature. See how this curves down? That has always bugged me, how this little joystick, this left trigger, you know, is actually just a little bit different than the right one. The right one is like 1 millimeter, and this one is like 2, or it just feels different as you're touching it because it's curved, you know, as opposed to being flat. I kind of wish they would have used the real estate here, you know, on the Steam Deck just a little bit differently, so that wouldn't be over the edge. That's always bugged me. Triggers on the back feel fantastic. They're really great on this. I mean, I love it. And again, this unit is a ton of fun. The battery life on either unit is not the best. Like, I haven't really clocked it yet. But for me, they both tend to run out of batteries. Even if you have batteries, you power it down and then you have it go to sleep or whatever, or just completely power it off, it seems like it loses batteries without even being turned on. Okay, so that is another thing to worry about for either of these units. Make sure they're fully charged. To boil it down, okay, this video has already gone longer than I intended. If you're just buying one deck, if you have a PlayStation 5, I would probably buy this one just because the games, I think they run a little crisper. It's a couple, it's a year plus newer, so it's got some newer components in it. The comfort level feels right at home with a PlayStation controller. It's the same eggshell feel, same joystick, same everything. It feels very at home. This feels a little more alien to me, but it's good. It's just kind of heavy, kind of bulky, but very lovable. I mean, just a great little thing. But the only thing I don't like about this is that the left trigger over there and these little touchpads, I really don't use these a whole lot. Like, maybe it doesn't need this at all on either side. There's two little touchpads here that maybe it doesn't need those. Maybe it should just have these buttons down here and that down here, to avoid being off the edge. But for price, $200 versus $500 or whatever, this wins. For being able to play more things that aren't PlayStation, this wins. If you're a PlayStation fan, I would say buy the PlayStation Portal, honestly. But they're both great systems, and if you do play PC games more than this, or if you need a way of playing PC on the go on an airplane, this is much more convenient playing PC games than this. But keep in mind that not all Steam games will work on this either. Some don't, and that could very well be true with some PlayStation games, although so far everything I've tested for PlayStation does work on PlayStation Portal, okay? All right, guys, so I hope that answers your question. I hope that you're maybe a little less confused if you're on the fence of buying one or the other. Again, I'd say if you have the funds, buy both. They're two different experiences. They complement each other very nicely, and I'm the type of guy who buys every system. In this household, we have multiple copies of every system, so it's the type of thing for me. I would just buy both. If you can afford it, I would say they're two very different things. You're not overlapping the same thing in your collection. But if you're just buying one, and if you happen to love PlayStation, buy the PlayStation Portal if you can find it for list price. Don't pay those scalpers. Keep watching. You'll find it in stock somewhere, and you can buy it. Maybe directly from Sony even, but buy this at $200 as opposed to paying like $500 for this, because I use them both about the same amount of time, since I bought them, and that isn't a whole lot, but every now and then I get urged to play something in a portable form. Some things like Persona 4 Golden, to me, plays much more at home. It feels much more natural on a handheld, like the PS Vita or one of these, than it does on a big, PlayStation on a 50th monitor or whatever, a full TV set. I'd rather play it on like a little handheld. So anyway, guys, again, links for these are down below. Sorry I'm rambling. Really tough decision. People say, text which one buy. I'd say buy this one if you love PlayStation. If you don't love PlayStation, buy that one. But you really can't go too wrong either way. That's why I say buy both, okay? All right, friends. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. I'll stop here. Okay, bye.